Swarthmore Borough Council's legislative session of Monday, May 13th, 2019, hereby called to order. Looks like all members of council are present with the exception of one, who is excused, and Borough Manager Jane Billings and Solicitor Bob Scott are also here with us tonight. Welcome to the public. Is there any member of the public that would care to address council on any matter this evening during our sole public comment period? There being none, public comment period is closed. First item of business tonight is consideration of our meeting minutes from April 8th, 2019 and May 6th, 2019, and that these minutes have been scrupulously examined by many members of council. So can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I move.
A second? Second. Any further discussion of the minutes, or are they okay now? By the way, it's a good thing. I mean, I'm glad people are actually reading them.
Yeah, I was too.
You know?
It's always easier for me.
We just need to keep Jane in the country from here on.
I know, James really, yeah. Okay.
If there's no further discussion, let's have a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Second item on the agenda is consideration of the settlement of a land use appeal for 315 Maple Avenue here in Swarthmore. And I know we've all had a chance to discuss this in the past in executive session, and also the agreement was circulated earlier today, so everyone should have had a chance to review it. I just want to point out that the actual first named defendant in this case is the zoning hearing board of the borough. And the borough is also a party, and that's why we're a signatory to the agreement. But the Swarthmore zoning hearing board is also going to have to approve this before it becomes effective. And of course, naturally, the parties at issue will also have to approve it. Can I have a motion to approve this land use appeal settlement agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion after that little introduction I gave? Yes, Ross.
I know I'm in a minority on this, but I intend to vote against this, and I just wanted to say why.
Sure, that's good.
We had discussion a while ago in another circumstance involving a property where people were using an outbuilding as a residence. And at that time, I expressed my view that if there was a building that was an outer residence and it appeared that people were going to use it as a residence, so long as our ordinances remained the same as they did, I was against that. In this circumstance, I've seen this property, I've looked at this property, and this outbuilding is literally within feet of the neighboring property. So in no respect does the outbuilding meet a setback. If anybody was considering building a house there, it just totally, a main house, it just totally doesn't meet the setback. And I noticed in the drawings that they still say that napping it's for purposes of napping, expressly says that. And once you get past a certain age, napping and sleeping are the same. Sorry, they are. So there's going to be a sewer there, there's going to be sleeping there. Virtually, in my view, it's going to be a residence. And maybe this round, people will not complain, but at some point in the future, some neighbors are going to not like it when they have a residence in an outbuilding that close to their primary house. So I'm not looking for any discussion, but I just want to make myself clear on the record. That's all I have.
Well, actually, if I could follow up on
yeah,
that.
sure.
Because I think we've actually discussed this, and it's my understanding that we can't deny them this on the grounds that it doesn't meet the setback because the property already exists. Is that correct?
Well, you can't compel them to move the building because it exists.
Right.
Would they be, but even if it had, I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the ordinance. I mean, I know that, look, it can't be a second dwelling. So
Right.
regardless of whether it's whether it complies with setbacks or not.
But the original grounds for denial didn't have to do with setback issues. They had to do with kitchen issues.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, there must have been a variance or some point in the past,
Well,
right?
this was a garage,
Oh,
always
it's
associated
pre-existing.
with it. The house that it's
Yeah.
next to was also a garage for many years.
Oh.
So, it predates me when it became a house. But I think that's how
So-
they
so
ended
they-
up so close to each
Okay.
other. One was a carriage house, I think for a house that's actually at the corner of Maple and Elm, and the other was the carriage house for 315 Elm. So they were back and very close to each other. I don't know, I would have to look at the record again to see if the applicants talked about how they thought the carriage house for 315 Maple was used before. Whether it was horses or cars or, anybody ever lived there, I think they talked about that a little bit. That was the basis of their argument, was that they were just going to use it as a potting shed, and it is a pre-existing structure in its existing location.
Right, so the only issue that was before the zoning and hearing board then, Betsy, right, was the plans as we saw them, the plans that were ultimately not approved.
Correct.
Because their use was.
Because it-
Was a deemed dwelling, because it had bathrooms,
Right.
and kitchen, so,
Right.
right.
And so the change that's been made
Right.
in the amended plans, or is that what we're calling them,
Yeah,
I'll call them the revised improvements,
yeah.
I think we're calling them, is they essentially reconfigured that space, the interior space, to eliminate a full-size bathroom, right? And it's basically now a half bath, would that be?
That's correct.
And then,
And the language that Ross is mentioning is actually a holdover from the plans that were submitted last year. Perhaps an oversight, so if you look, I distributed, there were plans from 1/17/2009 where the general scope of the project is an adaptive reuse of an existing garage to create a horticultural workspace with napping and socializing space. And that made it on to the next set of drawings from 3/7, but that also had the revised plans for that. But the general note stayed the same.
so
I don't know if that was intentional or...
procedurally, this is a little bit odd, only in the sense that it's coming before Borough. The settlement agreement is coming before Borough Council for approval, before the zoning and hearing board has had a chance to approve it. But Betsy, do we have a sense of, maybe, I apologize, you may have already explained all of this, but do we have a sense of what the zoning and hearing board is going to do?
No, in fact, this is the first I'm hearing that they have to approve the settlement, and actually, when you raised that, I was wondering if we should postpone approving it until they've approved it.
I think we intervened, the borough intervened as a party, took a position. I don't think you should make your decision based on what you want to make your decision on. I don't think it should be contingent on that. They are, in essence, a lower court, and if this were to go higher up, they don't even participate after the court of common pleas level.
Okay, so what you're saying, Bob, is that the zoning hearing board will do what it's going to do, but because the borough is a party to the lawsuit, just like the zoning hearing board, we're a proper party, so to speak, to approve or not this settlement agreement.
But just to clarify, if we approve it and they don't, then the settlement's not.
I think that's correct.
It won't be effective.
Everybody has to agree.
Everyone's got to approve it, including the property owners, and I assume that they're on board.
Members, they are. This draft is at their council's direction, and with our comments, but we drafted it.
You drafted it. All right, okay. So, thanks, Ross, for those comments. Are there any other comments or any further discussion of this?
I just appreciate the clarity.
Yeah, okay.
It's in the settlement agreement that they have to approve.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it is. It says
That's in
it's
there.
only
That's not-
effective upon
Yeah.
signature by all parties,
Right.
borough, zoning board, and
Yeah, it says, "It shall not be binding on or enforceable against any party hereto," which would mean the property owners, the borough, and the zoning hearing board, until, one, it has been executed by all parties identified herein as a party hereto, meaning the property owners, us.
You get to that point, I'm lost in what you use.
And the borough council and the zoning hearing board shall have voted, and the zoning hearing board, so both, shall have voted to approve a motion authorizing the body to enter into this agreement and the execution hereof by the president or chair of such body. So the motion is pending. It's been seconded. We've had a discussion. You can have more discussion if you want. Otherwise, we'll vote. Ready to vote? Okay. All in favor of approving the land use appeal settlement agreement with respect to 315 Maple Avenue, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Opposed?
So we have, I have to do math, we have 5 ayes and 1 nay. The ayes have it. Borough Council, for its part, has voted to approve the land use appeal settlement agreement with respect to 315 Maple Avenue, Swarthmore. All right. Let us continue. Lauren isn't here. That's all I have for my part of the agenda. Lauren isn't here. Is there anyone else from the Environment Committee that would like to report?
I just know that you indicated that the 23rd of May is going to be our meeting. I believe it's in the PO.
The 23rd of May?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys okay with that? You wanted to know, both of you?
I responded to yes.
Today.
Yeah, I was just making sure, I wanted to know that it wasn't conflicting with the finance.
That was the problem.
That was the
29th was.
I wasn't sure, yeah, both those things are good.
Okay. And that's at the PM, 7:30 PM.
Well, that part I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not
All right.
100%.
I think we're discussing recycling, yeah, some of the things on the agenda.
Okay, great. Mike, finance.
Yes, I'll start with the financial report for April. Hopefully everyone has that in front of them or has looked at it. In terms of revenues, basically everything is as expected. Expenditures are a bit high, but we had one particular payment, just as a timing issue. If you X that payment out, it's basically in line with last year, so really no surprises. And those kinds of things typically happen early in the year, as you all know. And our cash balance at the end of April was $2,050,377. Are there any questions regarding the financial report for April? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the transactions to ratify. I'd like to make a motion to approve transactions to ratify all loan payments totaling $52,353.20.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
And then finally, the bills to pay through May 6th. I'd like to make a motion to approve bills paid of $130,193.53.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
And the Finance Committee will be meeting on the 29th at 7:30 p.m.
May 29th at 7:30 PM, correct. That's a Tuesday? The day
I
after?
believe-
Oh,
Wednesday, yeah. I believe. Yeah, it got changed because we usually have the fourth Monday, but that's Memorial Day.
And
so
the
it's-
fourth Tuesday is the zoning hearing board
Got it.
and
All right.
the EAC.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
And that's all I have.
Great. Sarah, general government?
So the main thing for tonight is the consideration of the ordinance to expand the Human Relations Commission in terms of membership and scope. So I would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-1086.
Wait, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to thank you, Sarah, for kind of getting this done. I hope will be a help anyway. Any other discussion or comments? All right. All in favor of passing ordinance 2019-1086, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. The ordinance is passed. Thank you. Anything else, sir?
No, we're meeting though on the 20th, next Monday at 7:30 in this room, and we'll discuss, what that passage of the ordinance means. And then also, I think we're going to have some parking things to discuss. So if you're interested in parking, come on.
We're ready over. That's great.
That's all.
Betsy, planning and zoning.
First, I'd like to move to appoint 2 alternates to the zoning hearing board, Robert Richardson and Christopher Hunter.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'd like to thank both Robert and Christopher for stepping forward. That's really great. Anything else?
Process.
No? All right. Well, let's have a vote then. Sorry.
No?
No? No? He was pensive. He was
Basically, golfing.
Yes. Exactly. All right. So, all in favor of appointing these individuals as alternates to the zoning hearing board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. They are appointed with our thanks.
Great. And then the second matter is the consideration of ordinance 1085, the senior cooperative housing ordinance, which has been advertised and we've had our public hearing. And so I would like to go ahead and motion that we adopt ordinance 1085 to our zoning code.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you, Betsy. This was kind of complicated. Thank you for shepherding that through.
They're all kind of complicated.
She said they're all kind of complicated. This may be a little more than some, but anyway. Any further discussion? If not, let's vote.
I will just say it's interesting, we've had some people reach out from media who are interested in
Oh, really?
steps that we're taking. They've heard about some of this and
Okay.
interested in the steps that we're taking to expand affordable housing, particularly for seniors. So, it is something really good that we're doing, so.
Yeah, that's great. All right, all in favor of ordinance number 2019-1085, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the ordinance is passed.
I will just point out, it was actually the county who reviewed the ordinance that were having some discussions with media and sort of suggested they talk to us. So that sometimes seems like maybe a step that isn't so important, but it's good to know that the planning commission is looking at the stuff that comes in and trying to get ones that they feel are worthwhile is discussed in the county, and so that was much
And we're on the cutting edge.
right, yes. I think they've always thought we're. I'm just telling you.
Great, thanks.
So planning and zoning will not actually be meeting this month since it was last Thursday.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully we will be meeting in June.
Mary, public safety.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to authorize the Borough's Civil Service Commission to place an advertisement for the examination of a new police officer. This is something that we talked about a little bit last time. I think everybody knows now we need to hire a new officer, and this is starting the process again. So that is my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Questions?
The intention is to hire one more full-time officer.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, so, I'm sorry, can I
Sure,
just
please.
look the language, the examination for police officers, what does that mean?
There's an examination that's administered.
Right.
That they have to take, and then they have to reach those certain scores. There's an oral portion and a written, and then there's a physical agility. So you have to advertise that Swarthmore is giving a test, and then interested applicants can apply to take the test, and it gets advertised through the National Association of
PA Police Chiefs.
Police, the PA Police Chiefs.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
if anyone interested in applying.
Yes.
At some point for a job with our police.
In taking the test.
They have to
We
take
have
the
to take
test.
the test, and that's how it starts the process.
Yes, and that's the
Got
whole
it.
civil service process, where they have to take this test, and then we are required to look at the scores, and then if there's a veteran's preference, there are certain things that go into it. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of authorizing the Swarthmore Civil Service Commission to advertise an examination for a police officer position in the borough, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it, and the commission is authorized to proceed.
And I just have a question, who is letting the commission know that? Are you doing that, or should I do that? Or will
I think the chief will do that.
stuff
I can send it, Jack.
You'll let Jackie Lesser know, she's the chair.
You have a new alternate, right?
Yes.
Right,
Mhm.
you have that information.
Yeah,
No, you can
Come and move, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And we will not be meeting this month because we got a little fouled up because of Election Day. So we'll meet in June.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Ross, Public Works. Okay, Public Works will meet at our regular time, Thursday, May 23rd at 8:30 in the morning, and Mary, you're excused.
Thank you, Ross.
And
Thank you.
so the thing we have tonight is the paving contract. So maybe the manager would like to lead us, start off with that, or?
We advertised for bids for street paving contract. I think I sent out the Thursday's information, sort of a very basic summary of the street paving project. And a low bidder for the base bid. We have $107,000 in the budget, so we put in an ad alternate if the budget, if the project did come in a little low, but it's probably a little more than we want to have in the project this year, so we'll just look at the base bids. And the low bidder was just Super and Sons, and as I said, as you saw in the memo that came out from the solicitor, it's from the engineer, I'm sorry, from,
I agree.
yeah, we had a conference call on Friday,
We did the
but Sucre and Sons was the contractor last year, and there's actually his payment bond has been pulled. He did not pay his suppliers in full for the work, for the material that he got from them last year, which is, and the boroughs on notice, Springfield and Marple that we bid with are also on notice. And that's for them to figure out what happened, but there's actually some retainage that hasn't even been paid yet from both Springfield and from Marple. On top of that, the second reason for not considering him the lowest responsible bidder, which is what's required, is that he did not finish the project on time last year. You probably remember, there was constant discussion about that. So both of those are criteria for saying that he's not the lowest responsible bidder, which I think the engineer summarized nicely in his letter.
Did you see a memo went around about that?
Yeah, went out this afternoon, as soon as about 4
letter.
o'clock, a letter. You got a copy? Yeah. So the recommendation among all three municipalities that are bidding, so that's Marlboro, which is meeting tonight, Springfield, which meets on Thursday, is to award to the second lowest bidder, which is Glasgow, who we've worked with before. And for the borough, it's actually only a difference of about $5,000. So for us, it's not a big deal. For the other two municipalities, which have much bigger contracts, it is a more significant decision to go with the next lowest bidder. So I would ask that the council vote to award the base bid to Glasgow in the amount of $99,953.40.
And I think that's a good idea. And our recollection is that there were some other clients that they actually didn't even do their project.
Correct. That's our understanding, is that they did not get to everybody last year. And of course, because there's a problem with this payment last year, we don't even know whether there will be a problem with him getting the required bonds for this year. He has got another payment bond, another performance bond, and a maintenance bond. And we also have no idea how PennDOT will respond. PennDOT has to approve the contractor, the contract documents, and we just don't know how they will.
Well, PennDOT has a publication listing reasons for rejecting was a little bit on his failure to pace the fires. So we got that.
Maybe by next year, all these issues will be resolved, we don't know, but this is just a this year decision.
So, do we need a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we approve the bid of Glasgow Inc., which, the base bid, which was $99,953.40 for the paving work. That's the base bid, and we're not going to do the alternate.
Second.
Any further discussion or comments about this particular situation? If not, all in favor of awarding the 2019 street paving project bid to Glasgow Inc. with a base bid of $99,953.40, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and that bid is awarded. Anything else, Ross?
No, I think you said things are moving quickly this year, like, so far.
For this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Ross.
And actually, the bids came in pretty well. So the earlier you can go out, usually the more competitive bids you can get, and I think that was borne out this year.
Great. So when did we put these in? Just,
When
when
we
did
last
we
year,
let the bids, yeah?
once all three are in, they'll issue a notice to proceed.
So we kind of have to wait for Marple, who's meeting tonight?
Right, but it should be done by this,
For the end of the week.
Okay.
a couple months
All right.
later last year.
Okay, all right, great, thanks, Jim.
Can I ask Ross a question about, Jane, has the lining of the sewer lines started already?
I think they were, Joy, did you see them out? They were supposed
There's
to start.
somebody crawling around in a manhole on my street, so.
Hopefully.
Could be a lot.
There's nothing weird going on. Yes, they did, they were issued a notice to proceed, and they had a meeting here last Tuesday, I think, and they're like, we're starting tomorrow, and I was like, great.
They did.
So, yeah.
Great.
We were very enthusiastic. So.
I'm along the lines of getting things going fast.
Yeah.
It's nice
Yes.
to see, yes.
Great.
Marty. Thank you. A couple of announcements and then just a brief statement. This weekend is the library's 90th birthday, and there's a bunch of events going on. Friday they have a book and breakfast party in the morning, and then the evening I think there's a party with a DJ and goodies, I'm sure. So you can check the library for the actual schedule either on the website or in the library. They have a poster. And also on Saturday night, there's a trivia night at the library about Swarthmore trivia or library trivia, but it's trivia nonetheless. So anybody that's interested, please, again, check out what the library and you can find out what the schedule is. Don't forget that the 21st is the primary election. It's an off year, so we generally have lower than usual turnout, but it's nonetheless a really important election. We have county council seats coming up, we have judge seats coming up, we have the borough council to vote on, and the mayor. So don't forget to get to the polling place and vote on primary day. Memorial Day is the 27th, also the end of this month, and encourage as many residents as we can to come out to the Memorial Day commemorations. It's an important day. The Boy Scouts have taken it over as the primary lead, taking the lead on organizing the day. So I know the veterans that are there appreciate seeing a good turnout. So I encourage people to go. And the last thing is I just wanted to make a couple of comments about things that have been going on. As you know, one of my primary responsibilities is overseeing the police department. And I really have to give some credit to Ray for things that he's done in the short time that he's been in office. He shepherded and organized this whole civil service thing from the get-go. I mean, it was his idea. He was able to go through and get all of the paperwork necessary for the civil service information. He's preparing all the ads and everything going out. So, I mean, Ray really has done a great job to get this thing streamlined and get it done in a really quick fashion, so I appreciate that. And the other thing, well, I don't want to, again, arouse sleeping dogs, but as you know, Swarthmore College had some rather sensitive press over the last a few weeks ago regarding the student protests. And that was an issue that could have really gotten out of control. It could have been very difficult and rather ugly had things not gone the way they did. I commend the college for their restraint in handling the situation. They really seemed to handle it well. But also, people need to know that I think Ray did an incredible job interceding between the borough and the college, making sure they understood what the possible ramifications were for going in and taking a little bit more aggressive action. And I think I would probably posit the opinion that it had something to do with the fact that things went the way they did, or he certainly helped the situation. So Ray, again, I really I appreciate your keeping us out of the newspaper as much as possible. Well, we didn't stay out of the newspaper, but the borough really wasn't on the newspaper very much. So anyway, I just wanted to go on record as commending Ray for the work that he's done over the last, in some rather difficult situations and handled them really well. So it's a pleasure to work with this department, I have to say. So again, that's everything that I have to say this.
Thank you, Marty. Jane?
I just have on the manager's report, I do try and put on events coming up for the next meeting for which permits have been issued, the new process, and for this month that includes the charity fun fair, which is this Sunday, and one of those makers markets that sort of piggybacks onto the farmers market, although it's the day following, so that is Sunday, June 2nd. And both of those events have been approved by the general government. The only other thing I have is to think about July and August. These are months that council often decides to just have one meeting rather than two. I don't have to decide now, but we should either this month or think about it for in June. I'm going to let people know.
Yeah, let's. I think we definitely need to decide next month. You know what we're going to do. If anyone has any opinions about it they'd like to express right now, let's have them.
About which month we don't meet?
Yeah.
Usually,
Well,
traditionally,
or one meeting.
One time instead of two.
in July and August. And usually it's the legislative session that you do need. Last year, I think one of them you picked the work session just because of people's vacation schedules.
Yeah, exactly.
Just put it as-
Will we need to approve any final approval on the paving contract, like if the other municipalities do something different?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. And you still have a meeting. You have an advertised meeting.
Okay.
In fact, by law, you have to meet every month, so.
Can we put that off at least till next month, so we all have a chance to check our...
Sure.
But I think that's why I brought it up, so
Sure.
you all will know, so you can make a
Yeah,
decision.
come in with our schedules and be prepared to kind of talk about it. And you know, it may be that all 7 of us won't be here, but you know, that's okay. It's not
Maybe we should email Jane if we have plans to not.
Okay,
Sure, I can put that together.
sure. All right, no, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay,
That's all I have.
great, thank you, Jane.
Thank you, I don't have anything to
Okay. Any other business?
David, I
Yes.
forgot one thing.
Sure.
I just want to mention on the acceptance, of the borough of the little free library, which
Oh,
I think
yeah,
you all
right,
saw that. and
right.
I don't want to steal the paper's thunder because. And it was a great thing, as you can tell from the photos. and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But I want to mention, so the day before that, Thursday, because of the rain, there was a huge pool of water right in that place.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah, big.
And Guzzy and Jane and I talked, and the Public Works team got out there, and they had it completely covered over with sod
Nice.
that morning, so it was ready. So again, the Public Works crew really came.
Right, but the truth is Ross is the one who said, it looks terrible out there. I had actually noticed it, but it was not as thoughtful of Ross to say those little brownies are going to be standing in the dirt. So it was great.
Yeah, look good, I saw the photo.
Yeah, it's cute. And
Yeah.
that's why it's been
Nice
raining for 5
Nice turf
days.
right there.
You can thank Cousin and Sod for the rain.
Did we take it back up after?
If there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second? Move second, all in favor, say aye. We're adjourned, thank you.